Hello and very good evening to all our viewers. This is WION Wallet. I am Sumit Chaturvedi. Let's see what is making headlines in the world of business this evening. It's a big telecom merger in India. Tata Tele and Bharti Airtel will merge and telcos will combine the telecom consumer business. 4 crore Tata Tele consumers will join Airtel. Big day for Indian markets after Asian markets. Sensex jumped 348 points while Nifty was also up 111 points. After news of Honda shutting down Japanese factory, Toyota has now announced it will halve the number of cars it sells in Japan to about 30 by 2025 to focus on more popular models. And virtual currency Bitcoin has hit an all-time high of $5,087 today. Rising investor interest has caused a rally for cryptocurrency. And it's a big telecom merger in India. The biggest story coming at this moment from India. Tata Tele and Bharti Airtel will merge and telecos will combine the consumer business. As a result, 4 crore customers will join Airtel under the deal, and all liabilities of Tata Tele will be settled by Tata, but Bharti Airtel will pay Tata's unpaid spectrum liability. So it's a big telecom merger in India. The telecos will combine the consumer business, and 4 crore Tata Tele customers will join Airtel. All liabilities will be settled by Tata as far as its own liabilities are concerned, apart from spectrum liability. That is a big liability that will be taken by Bharti Airtel, the largest telecom company in India. So that is a big merger coming as a result of over-competition that has hit Indian telecom sector, especially after the entry of Reliance Jio that made debut last year. Thereafter, there is a shake-up happening in Indian market, telecom market specifically. Vodafone and Idea are joining hands on one side. On other side, Tata Tele and Bharti Airtel, they are coming together. So Indian markets is going through, we can say that, a phase in which telecom companies are combining their operation. Consolidation phase, we can say that this is, and that is the result of this consolidation that is happening in Indian telecom sector. Bharti Airtel is the top telecom company in India that has joined hand with 5th largest telecom company in India. On the second hand, second and third, Idea and Vodafone, they have also come together. So overall consolidation phase in, we can say that, Indian telecom business. We are joined by telecom expert Mahesh Uppal. Good evening to you, Mr. Uppal. First of all, how do you see this happening? Isn't it a kind of, we can say that, Indian market overall going through consolidation phase?
Absolutely. This is a part of the logical consolidation of this market. Companies that have not managed to make a mark in the market, companies that do not have sufficient market share, or who got their technology strategies wrong, are having to quit. And the market itself has become hyper-competitive when it comes to prices. So companies which do not have the ability to withstand a price war are also sufferers. But in case of Tata Tele, the bigger issue has been their market share, and more importantly, not just market share, but the fact that they, as late entrants in the market, have a larger proportion of low-income customers and therefore low-revenue customers. So they are not only, 40 million subscribers is not a small number, but if there are 40 million subscribers without sufficient ARPUs, there is a problem. And in a market like this, it is a bigger problem. So yes, this was very much on the cards, and analysts have expected this to happen for over a year.
And how do you see, Mr. Uppal, this boding for customers? How will it actually pan out for customers? Will it be good or bad? How do you see that?
I think it will be, in the short term, it's going to be quite good for customers because the market is still very, very competitive, and The operators have an incentive to offer better value, offer better prices, and that can never be bad news for customers. However, if the market becomes so competitive that it's not viable for more than one or two players, then you have the collateral damage that the competition in the market would not be sufficient, and that eventually prices might start going up and quality may not necessarily improve, as normally happens when there are not enough players in the market.
And one last question to you would be, how do you see this overall consolidation, Bharti Airtel coming together with Tata, Idea, Vodafone coming together, Reliance Jio? Won't it be bad for customers in the long run, because they will be left with very few options? The more, the better in competition in business, but the less will be that there could be anti-competitive practices for customers.
Yes, absolutely right, that there is always the risk of anti-competitive practices if the number is of players in the market is small. However, we should not forget that there is good economic to suggest that more than a certain number of players. For example, 1 year or 2 years ago, we had almost 10 players in each circle. Now, that too is not good for consumers, because it actually creates a number of inefficiencies in the market, and which also has hurt markets, because the operators in such situations are not sufficiently encouraged to invest. So while too little competition is bad, so is too much competition.
Absolutely.
So we should hope that at least 4 or 5 players are left in the market, and that the number does not fall below that number.
All right, thank you, Mr. Uppal, for joining us and getting us all these details from the biggest story from India. Tata Telecom and Bharti Airtel will merge. Now, let's go to global stories. Bitcoin, the virtual currency, has hit an all-time high of $5,087 today. Rising investor interest has caused a rally for price of the biggest cryptocurrency. Well, this has happened after we can say that countries are regulating use of Bitcoin, especially China, that has put, we can say that, certain kind of regulations on initial coin offerings. So cryptocurrencies across the world are under scanner of regulators. In fact, the overall corporate world is also divided on cryptocurrencies such as Bitcoin. But today, in spite of that, it has hit an all-time high of $5,186. That's an all-time high. In the beginning of the year, it was just at the level of $1,000. So around 500% gains we have seen in the last 9 months. And after news of Honda shutting down Japanese factory came some days back, its rival Toyota Motor has said it is planning to halve the number of cars it sells in Japan to about 30 by 2025 to focus on more popular models in a shrinking market. Automaker Toyota currently offers about 62 car models in Japan, including Prius, gasoline hybrid and Aqua compact hatchback, along with less popular ones including Premio sedan. Auto sales in Japan have been falling as population rapidly ages, while young people are losing interest in car ownership. The plans will allow Toyota to make better use of its resources. Toyota and other global car makers are concentrating their efforts on developing lower emission vehicles, including electric cars, while also focusing on expanding market share in emerging markets. And news from tech world, where after Google facing an antitrust fine in European Union, it is the turn of another tech giant facing antitrust fine in a different part of the world. Global chip maker Qualcomm is facing an antitrust fine in Taiwan. A Taiwanese commission has accused Qualcomm of having a monopoly over the chip market for several so-called modern technologies. So Qualcomm has been fined worldwide, and it's not just Taiwan. Taiwan has fined $774 million to Qualcomm, but before that, it was fined in other countries of the world as well. In Taiwan, it has been fined for antitrust violations but it has been fined in US, EU and other countries as well. Qualcomm has been fined $854 million in South Korea over competition laws, and even China, it has been fined $975 million. So fines are nothing new for Qualcomm. In fact, EU regulators have also expressed antitrust concerns over Qualcomm, that is world's biggest chip maker. So clearly not a good time for Qualcomm, where it is being fined in countries one after the other. It makes so-called modern technologies which provides wireless data connectivity for mobile phones and refused to license its technology to other industry players. That was the reason why it has been fined. In Taiwan, Qualcomm is required to submit a progress report on the matter every 6 months to the Commission on Negotiations with Linked Parties. And Samsung Electronics Vice Chairman J.Y. Lee today arrived at a high court in Seoul for the first hearing of his appeal case against a 5-year jail term for corruption. A lower court last month convicted 49-year-old Lee, heir to Samsung Group and one of Asia's largest technology companies, of bribing former President Park Geun-hye to help strengthen Lee's control of Crown Jewel in the conglomerate. Samsung Electronics Park is also under trial over allegations of abuse and power and bribery. Former Samsung executives, including former head of corporate strategy office Choi Gin-hoon and former President Chang Chung-ki, also arrived at court for their appeal. They were along with Lee, who convicted in the lower court in bribery case. Now, since Lee filed for appeal late last month, the appellate court is likely to try to rule by next January, as under Korean law, he can only be kept in detention for a maximum of 4 months while the court considers his appeal. And India would send a lakh youth to Japan as part of bilateral technical training program with an aim to boost national productivity. The Indian recruits will receive training in Japan for a period of 3 to 5 years. They will get accommodation and job opportunities in Japan. The training will be imparted in 3 to 5 years as part of government's skill development program. Now, Japan will bear the financial cost of skill training of Indian techies. About 50,000 of techies may also get jobs in Japan, and the selection of the youth will be done in a transparent manner, Indian government has assured. Now, according to Japanese requirements, this will be done. And let's go get some news from Brexit, where UK PM Theresa May has said Britain was not ramping up for a no deal in Brexit talks with the European Union. The PM May added that she was prepared for every eventuality following UK's exit by March 2019. Now, addressing the Parliament's weekly PM's questions session, PM May was attacked by Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn for leading the country to chaos. Prime Minister May also announced $330 million Brexit contingency plan.
If there is no deal, then obviously we will have to have arrangements with other member states about not just EU citizens here, but about UK citizens in those member states. We are preparing for every eventuality. We are committing money to prepare for Brexit, including a no-deal scenario.
And PM's statement comes hours after UK Finance Minister Philip Hammond said he would value a possible Brexit deal, and it would decline rapidly if the negotiations would be dragged into next year. Meanwhile, Germany has warned that Britain will suffer more than the European Union members when it leaves the bloc.
Was den Brexit anbelangt, gibt es ja verschiedene Untersuchungen, dass Europa eher ein Gewinner sein wird. Wir haben in Deutschland schon zahlreiche Firmenverlagerungen zur Kenntnis genommen von Unternehmen, die aus Großbritannien ihren Hauptsitz nach Deutschland verlegt haben, sodass ich davon ausgehe, dass wir selbstverständlich Probleme haben werden im Handel, weil es ja da doch ausgefeilte Produktionslinien gibt. Das wird schon so sein, aber es ist nach diesen Institutsmeinungen wenigstens, wird es für Europa nicht ganz so schwer werden, wie es wohl für Großbritannien werden wird.
And earlier on Tuesday, EU President Donald Tusk has issued a stern warning to Britain, saying bloc may rethink whether a Brexit deal is possible if there is no progress towards trade talks by December. Britain and EU will hold a fifth round of Brexit divorce negotiations later this week. The European Union insists on the progress of Britain's Brexit bill and the rights of 3 million citizens living in the UK. And in a development that could lead to expansion of losses suffered by Kobe Steel scandal in Japan, its CEO has said data fabrication may have spread beyond Japan. Kobe Steel CEO was ordered by government to submit a report on how the misconduct occurred and address safety concerns that have sparked a scare along global supply chains. Kobe Steel CEO said cheating scandal has left Kobe Steel's credibility at zero, underscoring the deepening crisis at the steel maker and the sweep of quality problems besetting Japan's once wanted manufacturing sector. Sources say the managers at Kobe Steel were involved in fabricating data on products used in planes, trains and even automobiles. The company has even found possible further cases of tampering, including in overseas operations. The Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry has ordered Kobe Steel to report on the results of safety checks within about 2 weeks. And Kobe Steel problem is causing a lot of trouble across the globe, where Boeing and other companies have worried about the kind of steel they are using. And let's go to Canada, where the Prime Minister Justin Trudeau has met US President Donald Trump. The meeting comes after Trump repeated his threat to walk away from North American Free Trade Agreement or NAFTA. Trudeau has presented several proposals to modernize NAFTA in order to preserve the trade agreement. Now, in response to US President Donald Trump said he would be open to a bilateral trade pact with Canada in a deal that cannot be reached with Mexico to substantially revise the North American Free Trade Agreement. Now, Trump has called for US to pull out of NAFTA, terming it unfair to United States. Earlier, President Trump had ordered a renegotiation of NAFTA and threatened to pull out of the pact if the US did not get a better deal.
As we know, the fourth round of NAFTA negotiations is underway here in Washington, and the President and I reiterated our commitment to working together in good faith to give this deal a much-needed upgrade. It has no bigger customer than Canada. Every year, the U.S. ships more goods to Canada than it does to China, Japan, and the U.K. combined. The proposals put forward, obviously, there are proposals that we disagree with, but these are negotiations, and we stay in good faith on them, putting forward things that we think will benefit not just Canadian workers, but the entire North American economy. That's something we're going to stay with, and we will continue to work diligently towards getting a deal.
We'll see what happens. We have a tough negotiation, and it's something that you will know in the not-too-distant future, but we are going to be discussing NAFTA, and we'll be discussing defense, because we have a great, these are truly great and original allies, and mutual defense is very important. And I guess we'll also be discussing mutual offense, which people don't mention too often, but offense is part of defense. So we have many things to talk about, but NAFTA will certainly be a big factor today.
Meanwhile, the fourth round of NAFTA negotiation talks starts today. Hundreds of business leaders from all 50 US states have joined forces to increase pressure on Trump to remain in NAFTA. A good day for markets in India. Sensex was up 348 points. A good day for market where since morning the Asian markets were jumping. They were the highest in 1 decade. Sensex was up 348 points while Nifty was up 111 points. So very good day for market over there. As far as overall Asian markets were concerned, Sensex was up. It gained on many factors, while Nifty was also up by 111 points. So tomorrow will be the last day for markets to, we can say that, trade in this week. But later on, it will be clear whether next week what happens. Overall, markets are bullish, especially before Diwali season starts. Overall good day for market in India. Asian markets were trading in green since morning. Hang Seng was at historical high since 1996. Overall, other Asian markets were also trading in green since morning, and that's what has caused Indian markets to also jump, though they were trading with a bit of pressure in the morning today, but by the time they closed, Sensex was up by 348 points, while Nifty was up by 111 points. So let's talk about banks. As far as bank stocks are concerned, a lot of buzz over there, but all eyes are on the coming festival season and the coming result season as well, as far as second quarter results are concerned. And let's take a look at auto stocks as well. Overall, this month would be good for them because autos will have a very good sale season going forward, because before festival season, the sale season is good. And we are joined by our analyst for today evening, Mr. Chandan Tiparia. Good evening to you, Mr. Tiparia. First of all, a quick, we can say that, comment from you about the jump. Why was there a jump in Sensex and Nifty today?
Yes, market managed to hold immediate support and rallied well by more than 100 points. It seems that bulls are back after the consolidation of last couple of trading sessions. However, the traders were quite worried because the red sell-off in the last trading session of the day. But the way that recovered clearly indicates that now the buying interest is visible and market is all set to head towards the new high territory. It is just few points away from its lifetime high, and it seems that now psychological 10,000 mark for the Nifty index is likely to act as a support, and this rally can extend to lifetime high of 10,178. Then a fresh move past 10,500 levels. And we have also seen the buying interest in many counters, including heavyweights Reliance industry, which rallied by more than 4%. Auto sector also rallied well. So broad-based buying was visible in the market, and I think this momentum could extend for next couple of days.
Thank you, Mr. Tiparia, for talking to us. Unfortunately, we are running short of time.